Hi everyone. Welcome to this exciting journey into the world of labor economics, where we will explore the intricate interplay between workers, employers in the broader economic landscape. Throughout this course, we will delve into both theoretical foundations and practical applications of labor economics, providing you with a comprehensive understanding of these crucial aspects of labor economics. Having this course, you are expected to gain insights into the labor market dynamics, wage determination, and the impact of government policies on employment and workforce behavior. This course will engage you in thought provoking discussions, analyze the real world case studies, and develop analytical skills necessary to navigate the complex challenges faced by labor markets across the globe. Together, let's explore the theories and practices that shape the world of work, empowering you to critically assess and contribute to the discussions on labor economics with confidence and expertise. This course is having 11 modules distributed in 40 lectures, and each lecture is having duration of 30 to 35 minutes. Before proceed to the subject matter, let's discuss the contents in brief. In module 1, we will discussing about the evolution and growth of labor economics. We will discuss about the concepts which are used in labor economics like labor supply, labor demand, the equilibrium. We will discuss about the actors in the labor market, how they interplay between themselves, and why we need labor market theories. In module 2, we will be discussing the labor supply. In this module, we will be focusing on neoclassical model of labor supply, household production model of labor supply, hours of work decisions. We will discuss the how to measure this labor force, basic facts about labor supply, the workers' preference, the budget constraints of the workers in terms of work leisure trade off, the hours of work decision, and we will also discuss how the individuals they take decision to work or not to work. We will derive the labor supply curve, we will estimate the labor supply elasticity, we will discuss the impact of welfare programs and work incentives on the decisions of the individuals, whether they should enter into the labor market or not. We will discuss the impacts of these welfare programs and work incentives on the labor supply at aggregate in the economy. We will discuss about the labor demand. In this model, we will be discussing on the neoclassical model of labor demand, employment decisions of the firm in short run and long run. We will discuss about the elasticity of demand for labor and its application under affirmative action and production cost. We will discuss about how these policy applications affects the employment decisions of the firm in short run and long run. In module 4, we will be discussing the labor market outcomes in the term of wage and employment in a competitive environment. So, we will be discussing the outcome of this competitive labor market in a single competitive labor market, as well as we will discuss the competitive equilibrium across labor markets. We will discuss the cowboy model, and also we will discuss the impact of payroll, taxes and subsidies on the labor market outcomes in terms of wage and employment. In module, we will be discussing this labor market outcomes, wage and employment in a non-competitive environment with a special reference to monopsony and monopoly labor market. In module 6, we will be discussing the role of human capital in labor market. In this module, we will be discussing on education in the labor market, the schooling model, the wage schooling locus, the education and earning. We will estimate the return of schooling, and the investment in human capital. In Module 7, we will be discussing on the wage structures and wage differentials. Why there is the different occupation, the different industries are having different wage structures, how wage is distributed across industries, across occupations, and why this wage inequality happens. What are the implications of this wage inequality? Further, we will be discussing the wage differential, why wages are different to different individuals with different environment conditions, why farms give different wages to different individuals. We will discuss about wage efficiency theory. We will discuss certain policy applications, health insurances and its impact on labor market in this module. In Module 8, we will discuss about labor mobility, the international and domestic worker mobility, how the workers they take decisions to migrate or immigrate, the changes in the income level and the migration cost. We will discuss about the job turnover, we will discuss about the job turnover and the age earning profile of the individuals. We will discuss about the policy applications on worker mobility. In the 9th module, we will discuss about the labor market discrimination. Labor is discriminated according to its socio-economic and demographic characteristics. So, labor is discriminated in the form of caste, class, religion, race, gender. Sometimes it is the employer who discriminates, sometimes it is the employee who discriminates. We will estimate the coefficient of discrimination. Under policy application, we will discuss the determinants of male-female wage ratio, how the labor market outcomes becomes different when this discrimination exists. In the 10th module, we will discuss on unemployment. We will discuss on types of unemployment, we will discuss the steady state of unemployment. We will discuss about the job search behavior of the individuals, and we will also discuss the theories of job search. Under policy application, we will discuss about the unemployment compensation, we will discuss about the Phillips curve, the inflation and unemployment trade-off, how it happens in the aggregate economy. In the last module, we will discuss about the labor market dynamics in India. In this module, we will discuss how the labor market has evolved over the period of time in Indian economy. With some statistics, we will discuss about the size of labor force, the size of workforce. We will discuss about the structural change that the Indian economy has experienced in last 40-50 years. We will discuss about this wage pattern, how different occupations or different industries, the wage is distributed and wage is different. We will discuss about the wage inequality. We will discuss about certain issues of Indian labor market like increasing informalization and casualization of labor. We will discuss about declining female labor force participation. We will discuss about youth unemployment in India, issues and challenges. We will discuss about challenges of social security. We will discuss about the employment strategies, policies and programs that the Indian economy has taken into consideration in order to address its employment and unemployment issues over the period of time. So, before proceeding to the subject matter of labor economics, let us try to understand what is economics. Economics in general is the study of how individuals and society manage its scarce resources. So, resources are limited. With these limited resources, the individuals have to make choice. They have to take decision in order to optimize how they can utilize these resources optimally. So, sometimes economics is called the science of decision making. If you go by the definition, economics is the study of how individuals and society choose to employ scarce resources that could have alternative uses in order to provide various commodities and to distribute them for consumption now and or in the future among various persons and groups in the society. So, if you look at this definition carefully, it talks about that how people and society choose to employ scarce resources that could have alternative uses in order to produce various commodities and to distribute them for consumption. So, it asks three basic questions, that what are the goods and services has to be produced, how these goods and services has to be produced, and for whom these goods and services has to be produced. So, these three basic questions is being asked, and the players in the economy, they have to take the decision that what are the goods and services has to be produced, how these goods and services has to be produced, and to whom and for whom. So, the key decision makers in the economy are the household and the farm, and the commodities they consume are in the form of products and services. So, the interaction between these decision makers which occurs in the market for goods and services determines the equilibrium prices and quantities of goods and services exchanged. So, let us try to understand how these decision makers interact with each other in different markets and what are the outcomes of these interactions. So, let us try to understand how economy works. Certain goods and services are demanded by the household, and these goods and services has to be supplied. So, in our day to day life, we need so many products, we demand so many products, and these good products has been supplied to us by the farmers or the producers. So, this interaction happens in a market called product market, which we experience in our day to day life. We all take part in this product market in our day to day life, as and when we require any goods and services, we rush to the market and get the product, and the trade off exchange happens in the form of price. Now, these goods and services, the farm which they supply, these goods and services has to be produced. Now, to produce these goods and services, the farm, they demand certain factors of production, and these factors of production is supplied by the households or individuals to the farm. This is called factor market. To produce these goods and services, the farms, they demand certain factors of production. These factors of production can be classified into four broad categories. They are land, labor, capital, technology, and each of these factors of production, they have their unique features and they have their own market. So, the transaction or the exchange takes place for these factors of production in their respective markets. For land, it is land market; for labor, it is labor market; for capital, it is capital market. Now, this is the basic framework from where in a two sector model we can explain that how economy works. Now, if you take into consideration the government, in 21st century almost all the economies in the world, they are in some kind of governance they have. and the government intervenes both in the product market and factor market with some kind of regulations. So, if we expand this two sector economy to a three sector economy, you can have three players in the economy. One is the household, farm, another one is the government. So, in general, the product markets, in the product markets, households provide income to the farm in exchange of goods and services. The farms, they get revenue, and in the factor market, the farm provides income to the household in exchange of factors of production. So, the farm, they provide income. So, what is labor economics? What about labor economics? How we define labor economics? Labor economics is the study of working and outcomes of the market for labor. So, as I discussed, labor is one of the factors of production. So, labor market is one of the factor market where the demand for labor and supply of labor, they interact with each other, and to decide that how much of hours of work or total employment should be there at what wage rate. So, the key decision makers in the labor markets are the households, farm, and government. Let us try to understand how labor market works. These key players, they take so many decisions when they interact in the labor market. When it comes to household, households make decisions like when to enter into the labor market, with how much of education and training, for which occupation or industry they should go for, how many numbers of hours they should work, whether and when to quit or retire. When it comes to farm, the farm takes decisions like how many number of workers to hire, how many hours of work to be done, when to lay off or close the plant, pension or retirement policies for the workers. When it comes to government, government establishes the environment to facilitate the interaction between workers and employer by providing training to the workers, giving unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, pension. Government formulate laws to protect workers and farms. So, the interaction between these players in the labor market determines the equilibrium price, which is the wage that workers receive, and the equilibrium quantity, which is the amount of work that the workers they do in the economy. And this quantity has several dimensions like time, efficiency, productivity. You can measure this in terms of these dimensions. So, the interaction happens in the labor market between household and farm. The farm, they demand certain labor services, and the household, they supply these labor services, and the interaction happens between these two players called the labor market, and the outcomes are in the form of wage and total number of employment. Government intervenes in the labor market or regulates in the labor market in the form of regulating the minimum wage laws, regulating the farm to protect the workers from exploitation, give compensation to the households in the form of unemployment, social security. So, this is altogether how the labor market works in a factor market. What is the importance of the labor market? Why the labor economics should be studied as a separate branch of economics, sub branch of economics? Because Labor market is the place it decides who earns what and why. It decides the income and economic well-being of the individuals. It decides the distribution of income in the society. The individuals, they sell their labor hour in the labor market. In lieu of that, they get some income. With that income, they are going to consume certain goods and services. So, that income decides the standard of living. That income decides that what will be the economic well-being of not just of that individual, but also it affects his successor generation and the previous generation. So, labor market outcomes decides the economic well-being of 3 generations. It has intergenerational links. The income, the individual which earns in the labor market, that decides that to which school his children will go. The income that decides that in which hospital he can give the treatment to his parents. So, it is 3 generations, those who are whose well-being is decided on the income of the individual. So, it has intergenerational linkage. So, income and well-being aspect is very important. Being a factor of production, labor contributes to the production process. It produces goods and services. Further, labor being a part of in the labor market, it decides the subjective well-being of the individuals. It has psychological aspect. Labor is not just a commodity. A person's labor is not just something they sell in return for income. Rather, a person's job, occupation, career are an important aspect of identity, self-esteem, prestige, and it gives you the recognition that who you are. Apart from this, the labor has certain special features, like I have said, it is a factor of production. Labor is the only factor of production who is having life. You can work with a labor, you cannot work with a labor 24/7, but you can work with a machine for 24/7. That makes the labor very special. Labor services are flow as well as stock. At a particular point of time, labor is having some kind of skill, some kind of education. That is the stock. He equipped with that stock. And for how many hours he is going to supply that labor service, that is the flow. So, labor is a stock as well as a flow. Further, this stock cannot be brought and sold forcefully. So, bonded labor is no more there. You cannot forcefully get someone work. Labor is having a special feature. They are homogeneous as well as heterogeneous. When a batch of mechanical engineering graduates, they graduate, they are all homogeneous. They are having the same skill. They are equipped with the same skill. Their identity are same. They are all same. But when it comes to labor market outcome, they are different. They work, their outcomes are different. So, labor is homogeneous as well as heterogeneous. They are different in terms of efficiency, productivity. Further, the quality of labor service is very hard to measure. It is very subjective phenomena. The efficiency and productivity are very difficult to measure. Labor have a monopoly power. Some occupations they have, we have seen some of the doctors, lawyers, they charge so high. So, labor have the monopoly power because of their skill. Further, Labor markets are highly segmented. Labor markets are segmented in the form of occupation, industry, geographical setup, and they are highly regulated. However, in 21st century, one cannot deny that the labor market serves as the backbone of economic activity, connecting individuals seeking employment with business in need for workers. It plays a crucial role in determining wages, job opportunities, and overall economic growth. A dynamic and different efficient labor market fosters innovation, productivity by allocating resources effectively. Additionally, labor market conditions influence consumer spending pattern, business investment decisions, government policy formulations. Understanding and monitoring the labor market is crucial for policymakers, business houses, individuals to ensure sustainable development and societal well-being. So the subject matter of labor economics deals with the labor supply, mostly the hours of work decision, labor demand, the employment decision of the firm in short run and long run, the labor market outcomes in terms of wage and employment, and the role of government, the impact of government policies on the labor market outcomes in the form of wage and employment. More specifically, labor economics is primarily concerned with the behavior of employer, employees in response to the general incentives of wages, prices, profit, and non-pecuniary aspects of the employment relationship such as working conditions. These incentives serve both to motivate and to limit the individual choice. The focus in economics is on inducement of behavior that are impersonal and apply to a wide range of people. During this course, we shall examine, for example, the relationship between wages and employment opportunities, the interaction among wages, income, and decisions to work. Further, we shall explore the way general market incentives affects occupational choices, relationship between wages and undesirable job characteristics, the incentives for and effects of education and training investments, and the effects of unions on wage, productivity, and turnover. In the process, we shall analyze the employment and wage effects of social policies such as minimum wage, overtime legislation, safety and health regulations, welfare reforms, payroll taxes, unemployment insurance, immigration policies, and anti-discriminatory laws. Let me give you an overview on the origin and development of labor economics. I have divided it into 7 themes. First one is the classical economics during 18th and 19th century. Under classical economics, Adam Smith, often regarded as the father of economics, Adam Smith's seminal work, The Wealth of Nation, 1776, laid the foundation for understanding the role of labor in economic development. He emphasized the importance of division of labor and how it contributes to the productivity and economic growth. David Ricardo in early 19th century extended the classical economic analysis with his theory of comparative advantage, which explored the benefits of international trade. This theory included the concept of opportunity cost and how it influences the allocation of labor across different industries. Under Marxian economics in 19th century, the labor has been given special attention. Marx's work, particularly Das Kapital 1867, delved into the relationship between labor and capital. He introduced the concepts like surplus value, exploitation of labor, the idea of class struggle. Marx's idea laid the groundwork for understanding the power dynamics in the labor market. Further, in late 19th and early 20th century, the evolution of this neoclassical economics like Alfred Marshall. Marshall's principle of economics in 1890 contributed to the development of neoclassical economics. Neoclassical economists focused on the individual utility maximization behavior and the role of supply and demand determining the wage and employment. Further, in institutional economics, which has evolved in early 20th century, also during this early 20th century, we have seen some labor movements. John R. Commons, a key figure in the institutional economics. Commons studied the role of institutions and collective bargaining in shaping the labor markets. His work emphasized the importance of understanding social and institutional factors in the labor economics. In early 20th century, we have seen the rise of labor unions and the movements advocating for this workers' right. This period marked as the recognition of collective bargaining as the significant force in shaping the labor market outcomes. In 1930s, the evolution of Keynesian economics. Keynesian economics, as presented in the General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money in 1936 by John Maynard Keynes, introduced the idea of government intervention that could mitigate the unemployment during the slowdown. Keynesian policies become influential in shaping labor market policies and addressing cyclical unemployment. Further, this human capital theory and the modern labor economics in early 20th century has given a new dimension to the labor economics. Gary Becker is the pioneer of this human capital theory. Becker's work on human capital, for which he received this Nobel Prize in 1992, emphasizes the importance of education, training, and in enhancing an individual's productivity and earnings. Human capital theory, a foundational concept in the modern labor economics, posits that investment in education, training, and health contributes significantly to the individual's productivity and earning potential. It suggests that individuals enhance their human capital through this investment, thereby increasing their value of labor in the labor market. This perspective broadens the scope of labor economics to include investment in skill and knowledge. In contemporary labor economics, late 20th century to present, we have seen the increasing globalization. This increasing interconnectedness of economies has led to more globalized labor market, impacting the distribution of jobs and wages. Further, the advent of technology, especially in the information age, has transformed the nature of work, creating new challenges and opportunities in the labor market. However, issues such as minimum wage, labor market regulations, social safety nets contributes to be the central topics of debate in labor economics. In summary, the origin and development of labor economics have been shaped by a series of intellectual movements, economic theories, and historical events. The field continues to evolve as researchers explore new challenges posed by globalization, technological changes, and shift in the nature of work. In the next lecture, I will present the brief overview of the labor market. Thank you.